For everyone who, like me, has been following foldables since day one, we knew this day would come. From 2019 to 2023, from Samsung to Huawei. When I held the HUAWEI Mate X3 in my hands for the first time, it felt surreal. This might be the intersection between the foldable era and the bar phone era. Actually, when you think about it, the HUAWEI Mate X3 isn't the earliest or the most extreme in the category. The Xiaomi Mix Fold 2 was there before, and the Honor Magic V2 came later. However, after all this time of experiencing various foldables, I still believe it's the closest product to replace traditional slab flagships. And it's my favorite foldable phone so far. I'd even venture to say that with the introduction of the 5G version in the near future, it could be the best foldable phone of the year. Update: I actually haven't had the chance to try the Xiaomi Mix Fold 3 and Honor Magic V2 yet, so if any friends from Xiaomi or Honor are watching this, feel free to reach out. Hello everyone, this is Tech33, and today we are going to review the HUAWEI Mate X3. The HUAWEI Mate X3 is a showcase of Huawei's hardware capabilities in the foldable arena. This product, from a global perspective, seems to have a generation advantage. And it's very possible that we won't see Samsung releasing a similar product next year. The glass version of this phone is 240 something grams, while the vegan leather version is 239 grams. When unfolded, it's just a 5.3 millimeters thick, and when folded, it's 11.8. Although these records have been surpassed by the Honor Magic V2, they're still quite remarkable. The Mate X3 is lighter than the iPhone 14 Pro Max with a screen protector, and significantly lighter than the Samsung's offering by over 20 grams. It truly looks like a graceful flying purple butterfly. I know many of you are hardcore gym goers, capable of lifting an 80-pound with one hand, but believe me, when you step out of the gym, your hands will still long for a purple butterfly. Huawei's ambition with the Mate X3 is quite apparent. They aim to compete with the iPhone 14 Pro Max by offering users a foldable device that's thinner and lighter. Huawei has put considerable effort into the phone's industrial design, ensuring that it feels comfortable on hold. The front is an all-side curved screen with a floating effort that feels comfortable to touch and swipe from any angle. The frame and hinge feature a glossy metallic finish. The frame is also gracefully rounded. Unlike the Mate X2, the X3 abandons the wedge-shaped design, and both sides are symmetrical in thickness. This could be because the device is so thin and light that there's no need to focus too much on the grip when unfolded. The back of the device is covered in frosted glass, and there's also a vegan leather version. This design, defined by its flowing curves and almost a complete absence of sharp edges, provides a very comfortable grip, creating two distinct extremes when compared to the most angular iPhone 14 Pro Max, which feels quite different in the hand. However, there's a minor trade-off of this. It doesn't produce a pronounced light and shadow effects, impacting the overall sense of sophistication. Huawei tries to compensate for this through the camera decal, using a complex, multi-layer metal cutting design, and incorporating strong elements of traditional Chinese culture, such as a prominent central axis symmetry. These design choices indeed give the product a touch of elegance. It's quite impressive to see how foldable phones have evolved from healthy 300-gram bricks to sleek devices weighing under 240 grams so quickly. It's a testament to the dynamism of the consumer electronics industry. Huawei has also made significant improvements to the hinge in the Mate X3. Manufacturers often like to brag about their hinge design and the use of aerospace materials, but let's focus on the results. The feeling when opening and closing the device has greatly improved, and it now supports stable multi-angle hovering. This is a substantial upgrade compared to the X2. However, during use, I noticed two issues. First, if you keep the device closed for an extended period and then open it, the hinge tends to snap back forcefully. It becomes more stable after being opened for a while. Second, when you initially unfold the phone, it's not entirely flat, and you need to apply a bit of force to flatten it. Somewhat resembling the behavior of Google Pixel Fold, this can be a bit annoying. The crease on the Mate X3 is quite well managed. is relatively wide and shallow. Let's take a look at the direct comparison. What surprised me was that Huawei has also achieved waterproof on the Mate X3. It's the second company after Samsung to obtain waterproof certification for a foldable phone. That's certainly impressive. All in all, the Mate X3 is still very impressive even in today's tech world. Now let's dive into the screens. The outer screen measures 6.4 inches, while the inner one is 7.85 inches. When it's folded, the Mate X3 takes on the size and proportions of a regular smartphone. Compared to the X2 and some foldables from Xiaomi and Vivo, it's actually a bit smaller. With this generation's significant slimming down, Huawei has hit the sweet spot with its choice. One other thing Huawei aimed for is a consistent experience between the inner and outer screens. Both screens on the Mate X3 have the same pixel density at 426. And both offer a silky smooth 120Hz refresh rate. They've also put some special software tweaks to ensure the colors match up well. Huawei's goal here is to make sure users don't feel a big difference when switching between the two screens. I think this approach is great, but it's worth noting that the peak brightness of the two screens isn't identical yet. Maybe in the future versions, they'll take it to the next level. This year, all the big players are in the race to create super slim foldable phones. But they are facing a common challenge, often have to compromise on camera. The Mate X3 is no different. On paper, its camera setup isn't as impressive as the last generation, the X2. Despite Huawei's best effort to put a primary, ultra-wide and 5x periscope zoom lens into this limited space, along with some X-Mage magic, I'd say the camera performance of the X3 falls into the category of foldable phones rather than true flagship territory. The RYYB766 main camera does slightly better in most situations, and it doesn't scream heavy post-processing at first glance. When you zoom in and compare it to Vivo's 866 or other smartphone with the 890 sensor, it's a bit of mixed bag. Compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it lags slightly in detail. It's worth noting that the X3 I had on hand seemed to have some white balance issues with an overall washed out look. You might want to tweak the settings to make colors more vibrant, which gets it closer to reality. As for the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses, they're not top-tier hardware. However, it's essential to remember that no foldable phone currently boasts top-tier camera hardware. When compared within its own category, the X3's ultra-wide is pretty standard, and some might not even have a telephoto lens. If you insist on comparing the Mate X3 to the better X2 or Huawei's P60 Pro or even the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, the gap in camera performance becomes evident. In reality, achieving top-tier mobile photography on foldable phones remains a challenge, and it's a space to watch for future improvements. In summary, the Mate X3's camera setup doesn't break any physical laws. It's a decent performer for everyday use. Oh, by the way, here's something interesting. Huawei is one of the best brands for cat photography. In my opinion, it captures the fluffy texture and intricate details of cat fur exceptionally well. So cat lovers out there, give it a try. And next time, if there's a chance, I'll let Milky tell you the story in her own words. Now let's talk about the performance of the Mate X3. Due to the well-known reasons, the X3 is still running on Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 4G version, available in China and a few selected global markets. Fortunately, the 8 Plus Gen 1 has good power efficiency thanks to TSMC's manufacturing process. In everyday use, unless you're out in blazing outdoor sunlight during a summer day, you won't have to worry much about overheating. With a 4,800 mAh battery or 5,000 for the premium edition, the Mate X3 boasts some impressive charging capabilities: 66 watt wired and 50 watt wireless. These figures rank among the top option in the world of foldable phones. I was practically surprised by the wireless charging speed, considering how thin this phone is. I'm not quite sure how Huawei managed to squeeze it in. The Mate X3 features dual speakers, one at the top and one at the bottom, which is great when watching videos in landscape mode. However, if you keep it in portrait mode, both speakers are on the left side, so the sound tends to be biased to one side. This seems to be a common issue with most foldable phones on the market right now. Okay, now let's quickly talk about Huawei's optimizations for large screens in their Harmony OS. One feature I really like is the golden ratio split screen app optimization. I have to say, the experience of using Weibo on X3 is quite impressive. When you dive into specific content, you get the golden ratio split screen presentation. You can have the original post on one side and scroll through comments on the other, or watch a video while engaging in the comment section's debates. The Mate X3's multitasking optimization for its large screen is quite comprehensive, although you might need to learn a few gestures. A swipe up lets you choose between floating window or split screen mode. You can easily switch between, and Huawei has even added a sidebar for quick access to shortcuts, split screen, and floating windows. This time, they've also introduced the support for vertical split screen. It might sound a bit complex, but it's actually not that hard to get the hang of once you tried it out. In Huawei's OS, there are many user-friendly little details, like being able to zoom in on text messages using a two-finger pinch gesture, similar to how you'd zoom in on photos. Perhaps we can make a dedicated video discussing these features with the latest Harmony OS 4.0 in the future. Well, this review should have ended here, but these past few days, the Mate 60 Pro suddenly burst onto the scene. No official launch event, no teasers, just straight to sell. Everyone's pretty excited, and there's been a lot of buzz. Now we know that Huawei's 5G phones are back, and so is the Kirin chip. As a tech enthusiast who bought and experienced every Huawei flagship, it feels like reuniting with an old friend you lost touch with for years. We've been through a lot together, witnessed its impulsiveness, arrogance, and stubbornness. But we've also seen plenty of surprises, challenges, and resilience. We've been apart for a few years, and now it suddenly reappears. It's not entirely unfamiliar, but it's not entirely familiar either. Two things are certain. First, it's not time for nostalgia yet, because we're all still young. Second, it's back, and things are about to get more exciting. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm Tech33 here, and until next time, take care.